It's Tuesday morning. You're packing lunches. Chicken wrap for your daughter. Bean and cheese burrito for your son. Quick, healthy, done. But what if those tortillas aren't as simple as you thought? What if I told you that the tortilla you're wrapping your child's lunch in might contain more than just flour, water, and salt? Tortillas sit at the center of family meals, tacos, wraps, quesadillas, school lunches. They feel safe, familiar, wholesome. But today, we're taking a closer look at what's really inside many store-bought tortillas, the chemicals, the ultra-processing, and the questions most families never think to ask. And here's the thing, this isn't about fear. It's not about perfection. It's about understanding what we're feeding our families and knowing there are better choices, where we look beyond the label without fear. Tortillas are often eaten daily, especially by children. Morning breakfast burritos, after-school quesadillas, Taco Tuesday, snack wraps, and when a food becomes a daily habit, even small ingredient decisions can add up over time. According to industry data, the average American household consumes tortillas 3-5 times per week. For Latino families, that number can be even higher, sometimes daily. That repetition means exposure to whatever's in those tortillas, good or bad, accumulates. This video isn't about blaming brands or scaring parents. It's about understanding label, recognizing ultra-processing, knowing better options exist, making informed choices, because knowledge is power, and parents deserve to know what they're buying. Let's start with history, because tortillas haven't always been this complicated. Traditionally, corn tortillas required just 3 ingredients. Nixtamalized corn, water, salt, that's it. Made fresh. Eaten same day. No preservatives needed because they weren't sitting on shelves for weeks. Flour tortillas were only slightly more complex. Wheat flour, water, salt, fat. 4 ingredients. All recognizable, all used in home kitchens for generations. But somewhere along the way, as tortillas moved from homes and local tortillerias into factories and national distribution, the ingredient list exploded. Modern shelf-stable tortillas are engineered. They're designed to stay soft for weeks or even months without refrigeration, to travel thousands of miles, to survive warehouse storage. And to do that, manufacturers add chemicals that most families never expect to find in something as simple as bread. Let's break down what's actually in many store-bought tortillas and why it matters. Category 1. Preservatives. Preservatives prevent mold and extend shelf life. Sounds reasonable, right? But let's look closer. Calcium propionate, one of the most common preservatives in tortillas. It's FDA approved and considered generally recognized as safe. But here's what research shows. Linked to irritability and sleep disturbances in children. Australian study, 2002. May disrupt gut microbiome balance. Some children show behavioral sensitivity, particularly concerning with daily consumption. The concern isn't one tortilla. It's the cumulative effect when kids eat these preservatives in bread, tortillas, snack cakes, and more every single day. Potassium sorbate, another common preservative, generally safe in small amounts, can cause allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. When combined with vitamin C, may form benzene, a carcinogen, under certain conditions found in dozens of processed foods. Again, one exposure? Probably fine. But daily exposure across multiple foods? That's where questions arise. Category 2. Emulsifiers, dough conditioners. These chemicals make dough easier to work with in factories. They create uniform texture, prevent sticking, and extend freshness. Mono and diglycerides, emulsifiers that blend oil and water, derived from plant oils or animal fats chemically altered through industrial processing. Studies link emulsifiers to gut inflammation and metabolic issues, especially concerning impact on children's developing microbiomes. A 2015 study from Georgia State University found that dietary emulsifiers altered gut bacteria and promoted inflammation in mice, contributing to obesity and metabolic syndrome. Are tortillas alone causing metabolic disease? No, but they're part of a pattern of ultra-processed foods that may be. L-cysteine, a dough conditioner that makes bread softer, can be derived from human hair, duck feathers, or synthetic sources used to speed up industrial baking. Not something you'd use at home, not inherently dangerous. But it's a perfect example of how modern tortillas are engineered products, not traditional foods. DATEM, sodium stearoyl lactylate. Other dough conditioners you'll see: DATEM, diacetyl tartaric acid esters of mono, and diglycerides. SSL, sodium stearoyl lactylate. Both synthetic chemicals. Category 3. Category 3. Refined, Bleached flours. Let's talk about the flour itself, because even that's been altered. Most commercial tortillas use enriched bleached flour. Here's what that means. Step 1. Bleaching. Flour is chemically whitened using chlorine gas or benzoyl peroxide. Creates fine, white, uniform texture. Destroys some nutrients in the process. Step 2. Stripping. Bran and germ are removed. That's where fiber, vitamins, minerals live. What's left? Mostly starch and gluten. Step 3. Enriching. Synthetic vitamins are added back. Thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, folic acid. Iron-enriched sounds healthy, but it's like taking a vitamin pill with pure sugar. The problem? Low fiber equals blood sugar spikes. Missing micronutrients that weren't added back, less satisfying, kids get hungry faster. Contributes to insulin resistance over time. When kids eat refined flour tortillas daily, especially without protein or fiber to slow digestion, you're essentially giving them a blood sugar roller coaster. Category 4. Added sugars, hydrogenated oils. Some tortillas sneak in added sugars and processed fats. Sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Intraesterified oils, replacing trans fats. Hydrogenated soybean oil. Some still contain small amounts. Why add sugar to bread? Longer shelf life. Better browning. Flavor enhancement. But here's the catch: many families assume tortillas are a neutral, unsweetened food. They're not always. Let's get specific. Here are 6 widely available U.S. tortilla brands that nutrition experts often flag not because they're poison, but because they're heavily ultra-processed. Ingredients vary by product line and region. Always check your specific package. Brand 1. Mission Flour Tortillas. Mission is the one-selling tortilla brand in America. Found in nearly every grocery store. Ingredient concerns. Enriched bleached flour, intraesterified soybean oil. Replacement for trans fats, but emerging research raises concerns: calcium propionate, preservative, fumaric acid dough conditioner. Mono, and diglycerides designed for long shelf life and national distribution not designed for. Ingredient simplicity or nutrition. Mission tortillas can sit on a shelf for 30-60 days. That's impressive engineering, but it's not traditional food. Brand is 2. Great Value Flour Tortillas. Great Value tortillas are cheap and accessible, which means millions of families buy them weekly. Ingredient concerns. Bleached flour, preservatives, calcium propionate, sorbic acid, added sugar, hydrogenated oils, and some varieties. Why it matters. Budget-conscious families often buy these in bulk, meaning daily exposure for kids. Price matters, accessibility matters. But so does knowing what you're getting. Brand 3. Guerrero Caceres Tortillas. Guerrero markets their Caceres line as homemade-style tortillas. But let's check the ingredients. Ingredient concerns. Enriched bleached flour dough conditioners. DATEM, SSL, monoglycerides, preservatives. The Gap. Marketing suggests homemade ingredients, say factory made. This is a perfect example of how packaging can be misleading. The name sounds traditional. The ingredients are not. Brand 4. La Banderita Flour Tortillas. La Banderita is another major brand, especially popular in Latino communities. Ingredient concerns. Sulfites, in some varieties, can trigger asthma or allergic reactions. Preservatives, dough conditioners, sensitivity alert. Sulfites can cause reactions in some people, especially those with asthma. Brand 5. Low Carb, Keto Tortillas. Here's one that surprises people: healthy low carb and keto tortillas. Ingredient concerns. Artificial sweeteners, sucralose, erythritol, modified wheat starch, cellulose, wood pulp fiber, heavy use of emulsifiers and gums. The irony: marketed as healthy, but often more processed than regular tortillas. Low carb doesn't mean clean, it often means highly engineered. Brand 6. Some gluten-free tortilla wraps. Finally, gluten-free tortillas. Necessary for people with celiac disease, but not always healthier. Ingredient concerns. Rice flour, xanthan gum, gar gum, processed oils to mimic texture, often higher in sodium and sugar. Key point: gluten-free or unprocessed or healthier, unless you need it medically. Again, these brands aren't evil. They're not poison. But they are ultra-processed, and when families eat them daily, especially children whose bodies and brains are still developing, awareness matters. Here's the good news: families absolutely have better options, and making the switch is easier than you think. What to look for on labels. Here's your checklist when buying tortillas. On-screen checklist. Short ingredient list, 5-8 ingredients max. Ingredients you recognize, nothing you can't pronounce. No preservatives, if refrigerated or frozen, they don't need them. Whole grain or corn-based. More fiber, better nutrients. No hydrogenated or intrasterified oils. Minimal or no added sugar. If you can read the ingredient list out loud without stumbling, you're on the right track. Better brand options. Here are some cleaner tortilla brands to look for. Availability varies by region, but most are expanding. 1. Ezekiel 4:9. Sprouted grain tortillas. Food for life. Ingredients: organic sprouted wheat, filtered water, sea salt. Sprouted grains, better nutrient absorption. No preservatives, keep refrigerated. Higher protein and fiber. 2. Seed Foods tortillas. Ingredients: cassava flour, coconut flour, water, avocado oil, sea salt, xanthan gum. Grain-free, great for paleo, grain-sensitive families. Minimal ingredients, made by a family-owned company. 3. Vista Hermosa traditional corn tortillas. Ingredients: corn, water, lime. Traditional nixtamalization process. Often found at Mexican grocery stores. 3 ingredients, that's it. 4. Maria and Ricardo's tortillas. Ingredients: whole wheat flour, water, non-GMO canola oil, sea salt, baking powder. Whole wheat equals more fiber. Clean ingredient list. Available at Whole Foods, Sprouts. 5. Tortilla fresca. Uncooked, refrigerated. Found in refrigerated section, made fresh, no shelf stabilizers. You cook them at home, ultimate freshness. 6. Local tortillerias. And honestly, the best option is often your local tortilleria. Made fresh daily. Traditional methods. Minimal to no preservatives. Support local business. Check your area for family-owned tortilla makers. You might be surprised what you find. I know what you're thinking. This sounds expensive. Complicated. I'm already overwhelmed. Here's the truth. You don't have to be perfect. Progress over perfection. Start with 50/50. Use cleaner tortillas for daily meals. Keep conventional ones for quick weeknight dinners. Even cutting consumption in half makes a difference. Freeze for freshness. Buy preservative-free tortillas in bulk and freeze them. They last months and thaw in minutes. Make it yourself, easier than you think. Homemade flour tortillas. Flour, water, salt, oil, 20 minutes. Kids love helping. Focus on what you can control. Can't find clean tortillas where you shop. Switch to lettuce wraps, rice bowls, or whole grain bread as alternatives. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. It's doing a little better when you can. Let's talk about why this is especially important for children. Brain development. Children's brains are developing until age 25. Nutrition matters. Ultra-processed foods, including heavily processed tortillas, are linked to attention and focus issues, mood swings and irritability, increased risk of anxiety and depression, poorer academic performance. A 2022 study found that kids who ate more ultra-processed foods had worse executive function, the brain skills needed for focus, self-control, and problem-solving. Gut health. Your child's gut is home to trillions of bacteria, their microbiome. It affects immune system. 70% of immunity lives in the gut. Mood and mental health. Gut-brain connection. Digestion and nutrient absorption. Long-term disease risk. Emulsifiers, preservatives, and refined flours disrupt that microbiome, especially in kids whose gut bacteria are still developing. Energy, behavior. Refined flour tortillas cause blood sugar spikes and crashes. Parents notice this as energy crashes after meals, hyperactivity followed by fatigue, difficulty concentrating, mood swings and irritability. Switching to whole grain or corn tortillas with fiber slows sugar absorption, meaning steadier energy, better focus, and calmer moods. Food habits formed in childhood last a lifetime. Kids who grow up eating ultra-processed foods develop preferences for hyper-palatable foods, have higher risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, struggle more with weight and health as adults. But here's the empowering part: small changes now create healthier patterns for life. So let's bring this home. Healthy eating isn't about perfection. It's not about never eating a processed tortilla again. It's not about guilt or fear. It's about patterns. It's about awareness. It's about making better choices when you can, without stress or shame when you can't. If tortillas are a daily food in your home, choosing simpler versions helps support gut health, stable energy, better focus, long-term wellness, healthy food relationships, And that's especially true for children, whose bodies and brains are still developing. Food doesn't need to be scary. It doesn't need to be stressful. It just needs to be understood. You're not a bad parent for having mission tortillas in your pantry right now. You're here, learning, asking questions, and that's what matters. Start small. Read one label this week. Try one new brand. Make one batch of homemade tortillas with your kids. Progress over perfection. Always. If this video helped you see tortillas and food labels a little differently, I'd love for you to give it a like, share it with another parent who might need this, subscribe to The Hidden Bite where we look beyond the label without fear. Every week, we break down everyday foods, expose ultra-processing, and help families make better choices without overwhelm or perfection. Drop a comment below and tell me, what tortilla brand is in your kitchen right now? Will you try switching to a cleaner option? What food should we investigate next? I read every comment. This is a community of parents who care, and you're part of it now. If you want to keep going, check out these videos. What's really in your kid's lunch meat store? Bought bread. The ultra-processed truth cereal exposed. Marketing versus reality. Thanks for watching. Thanks for caring. And remember, you're doing better than you think. The Hidden Bite where we look beyond the label without fear.